I do admit this is a tad bit late, but December 2015 marks the 2-year anniversary of the site PS Vita Review Network, which eventually became PS Vita Reviews, to Vita Reviews, and now to Reviews to Go. The actual date is December 6, 2015. Back on December 6, 2013, I made my very first article to reveal my site to the world, and now, almost 320 reviews later, I'm still going and I've done a lot of expansion. Now, had I realized that the 2-year anniversary was coming up earlier, I probably would have done something rather rash and made some extravagant video that would have taken me weeks, if not months, to make. So instead, here is what I have for you. Because the site is 2 years old today, I decided to write up, on the main site, not in this video, a timeline to show everyone all that I've done in the past 2 years. As you may know, all 317 reviews written on my site were written by me and only me. I am a one-man team, though I did have someone helping me with some giveaways back a year or so ago. But let's take a look at the history of Vita Reviews, PS Vita Reviews, PS Vita Review Network, Reviews to Go, whichever name you like the best. First was December 2013 when the site was first founded. When I first founded the site, when it was little more than a hobby, I wanted to make PS Vita reviews, but even back then I had the retro review idea in mind, even though it wasn't until later on that one of my Twitter followers suggested that I actually use the name Retro Review. It was called the PS Vita Review Network back in December 2013, and I had launched it with PS Vita and PSP reviews, and later in the month I also introduced hardware reviews in the form of a PS Vita Slim import review, PS Mobile reviews, as well as PS1 Classic reviews. At that time, we were waiting for the inevitable release of Final Fantasy X HD Remaster, so I was reviewing all of the main Final Fantasy PSP and PS1 games the Vita had at its disposal to anticipate the release of the new game. The next change I made was in January 2014 when I introduced app reviews. This was in the form of both PlayStation Vita apps and PlayStation Mobile apps. Then in March 2014, I introduced my giveaways that I had done on a monthly basis. The next change I made was in April 2014 when I began writing articles to do monthly recaps of all the reviews done that month, so people could just look at the review recaps to see everything done that month instead of trying to search through the site. It was a good idea because now you have 317 reviews to look through, so you either use a search engine for what you want, and if you don't know what you want, then you're going to be looking for quite a while. And in May 2014, I introduced accessory reviews in the form of the PS Vita Slim charging cradle, which I still have in use, as well as a few others since then, like the L2R2 trigger grip. In July 2014, I added some extra info to my reviews based on user feedback. I included region availability. I also added download information to differentiate what games can be downloaded directly to a Vita and which ones required a PS3 transfer, like Metal Gear Solid or Tomb Raider Legend. A month later, in August 2014, I did a collaboration for the PS Vita Direct movement that was big at that time. I had created a pretty amateurish video having mini reviews of 20 or 30 so games. Then in October 2014, I created a forum for the site. The forum was mostly to have a different venue for my giveaways. It has since evolved since then. It's not an incredibly busy forum, but it is a really nice casual community to go to. In December 2014, I made some changes to the reviews. On user feedback from a friend, I tested a change from the 10-point grading system that I still use now to a 3-tier scale to say whether a game was great, decent, or bad, which I reverted back when I found out a few things, like the fact that you can't get into sites like Metacritic unless you have a point system. I also introduced my very first video review in December 2014, showing the site's expansion not only from the text reviews but also to YouTube in the form of video reviews. February 2015 is probably the most critical stage that I've ever done in the site, is when I began my PlayStation TV North America compatibility list. I say this is one of the biggest moves that I made in my site because the PSTV compatibility list has by far the most traffic in my entire site. If you added up all of the traffic that every single one of my 317 reviews get, you would still be a lot less than the amount of traffic that PlayStation TV guide gets. A month later, I launched a successful Kickstarter campaign, which I used in September of 2015 to upgrade the site to the template it is on now, which looks less like a blog and a little more professional. September is also when one of my followers on Twitter had suggested to make not only a PSTV compatibility guide, but also a guide for North America users for games that are not compatible with the PlayStation TV. Then, our final big change was in November 2015, last month. I rebranded the site from PS Vita Reviews to Reviews2Go, which expanded the site to not only do coverage for the PlayStation Vita handheld, but all handhelds. The PlayStation Vita, the Nintendo 3DS, and a lot of other handhelds in the future. As you may have noticed, I've done a lot of forum topics about the Steam handheld that's coming out next year, and I have a lot of more ideas that I'm not quite ready to reveal just yet. The last thing I did as part of this expansion was to introduce review types for 3D classics, 3DS games, Nintendo DS games, and Virtual Console games. Well, that was a bit of a history lesson, but I hope you could get at least some enjoyment out of it. So, I am here just celebrating the 2-year anniversary of my site. Thank you everyone for following me and staying with me. And here's hoping for another great year.